am a big foodie, and like millions of foodies across the world, I love my sandwiches, especially when they are grilled. Now, also being a car enthusiast, I love cars, and my reception to cars that are given the grill treatment is not the same as it is with sandwiches, because some of them look really nice, but some of them do not. Say hello to the new facelift MG Hector, and this is another car that has been given the grilled treatment that I was talking about. Now, unlike some cars like Audis, the new Audis that have a big gaping grille and look good, there are also cars like the BMWs which have those massive grills that don't really look good. Now, this one on the Hector, well, to my personal taste, when I saw it in the pictures, it really did not appeal. In the flesh, it looks a lot better, but still, it's a bit too much for me. There's just too much happening, there's too much bling for my taste. But again, design is a subjective thing, so I'm sure there are people who will love this massive dosage of chrome and the diamond element on this grille. So, to each their own. But if I look at the other changes up front, you can see there is this revised grille, and also the bumper has been again redesigned. There are these black surrounds around the headlamps. The overall design hasn't changed much, same LED DRLs and the headlamp assembly. Beyond that, the changes aren't extensive. On the side, there's the same design. You get these similar 18-inch alloy wheels, and like I've said earlier, these continue to look a little small for the overall body and do not fill up the wheel well completely. There are some changes on the back though. You get the ADAS badging, which signifies that this vehicle is now level 2 ADAS compliant. Also, the tail lamps have been revised, and you see the complete tail lamp connected from one end to the other, and there's more chrome as well. So while the highlight of the exterior change in the Hector facelift is this massive grille, the changes inside the cabin are much more extensive. And let me take you inside the cabin and show you what all these changes are and how they make a difference to your occupant experience. Now, if you're familiar with the cabin of the previous Hector, you'll instantly realize when you sit in this new one that it's very, very different. Now, the dashboard layout is very different, and you can see the way the vents have been designed. Again, they look very sleek. The material usage, again, it has been done wisely, which gives the cabin sort of a premium and a plush experience. But the center stage, the highlight of this cabin of all changes, is this vertically placed massive 14-inch touchscreen. This is the largest touchscreen in this segment in India. Now, you won't find such a huge touchscreen even on many far more expensive vehicles, but let me tell you more about this. It gets Android Auto and Apple CarPlay support. Beyond that, if I look at the touch response, well, the touch response compared to the previous Hector has improved significantly, and I wouldn't say it's slick. It isn't slick still, but yes, it's considerably better than the previous Hector. There is a better app integration also here, so now you get many new apps that give you a lot of features and more information at the same time. Beyond that, there are some very cool graphics also. Now, for example, if I have to use the climate controls, you get this very nice animation showing the airflow within the cabin. And beyond that, I can also go and look at the 360-degree camera view. This is something that's very impressive. The resolution from the camera, the display clarity is quite impressive, and that means that this is a feature that is very, very usable for the driver. One other cool feature about this vehicle is that you can operate the sunroof from the touchscreen. Well, there are physical buttons here as well, but you can operate it from here, and you can choose what percentage you want to open the screen up to. So I can choose to open it 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50, 60. So that is kind of a useful and a nice feature to have. And once you press it, there's a lag of about a second or 2 seconds, and then the sunroof responds. So a pretty nice screen to have, nice in terms of features, very good in terms of display. The user interface is quite simple, so you won't get confused within the menus and the sub menus. It's easy to use. Just one thing that could have been better in this is the touch response. It could have been a little more fluid, but like I said, significantly better than the previous Hector. Other changes include this impressive new design for the shift selector area, and again these panels have been given this very nice arrow sort of a design which gives it a nice feel. Also these metallic buttons and the shift selector itself feels very premium in quality. The metal brush finish that has been given across the cabin and the console, again that also looks quite premium. The steering wheel is the same as it was in the older Hector, but now this one gets level 2 ADAS, so you get those new ADAS buttons on the steering, but otherwise it is similar to the previous Hector. The digital instrument cluster, brilliant piece of unit. It works very well, gives you very good information. It is customizable, so again does the job very well. In terms of features too, it's a pretty packed cabin. You get a wireless charger, and beyond that you also get an electronic parking brake, a panoramic sunroof, which I said you can also decide what percentage you want to open the glass up to. You get ventilation system for the seats. Even the seats get power adjustment. The driver seat as well as the co-passenger seat both are electrically adjustable. It's just that the driver's seat gets more adjustment options. Well, the new Hector Facelift can be bought in 5, 6 or even 7 seat variants. The 7 seat ones of course would be the Hector Plus. But right now what we have is the standard Hector, and this is again a 5 seat vehicle. Now you can see nothing has changed in terms of the wheelbase or space, so you get still a very spacious cabin, lot of knee room, good leg room. The seats themselves are quite nice. The cushioning is good, the under thigh support is nice, the center armrest is cushioned, and of course if I look at the overall width of the seat, again quite a wide seat, so you can have 3 people sitting abreast, and it's a flat floor, so all of it adds to occupant comfort. Beyond that, you get these rear AC vents and a USB charging port here, adjustable headrests. All in all, a good family SUV. Now before we go ahead and tell you about the driving and the ADAS experience of the Hector Facelift, if you like this video, please share it and subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to press that little bell icon so that you can stay updated to all our forthcoming videos. Alright, now coming to the driving performance of the Hector, well, not much has changed in the facelift Hector. It gets the same powertrain options. Some changes though. You get the same petrol engine and the diesel engine, 2-liter diesel engine that you see doing duties even in the Safari or the Compass for that matter. The petrol engine that we have in the car right now, it's a 1.5-liter turbocharged unit, and it develops 143 horsepower, 250 Newton meters of torque. You can have it either with a 6-speed manual or a CVT automatic gearbox. The diesel, you can only have it with a manual gearbox. Now let's talk about the petrol unit here with the CVT, because that's what we have been driving today. Now in terms of refinement, it's a nice engine, no unwanted noises coming inside the cabin. In terms of performance, well, nothing has changed from the previous version. It's not a really exciting engine. Well, the figures suggest why it isn't 143 horsepower, isn't that much, but it isn't underpowered as well. It gets going effortlessly. You can get up to highway speeds with ease. You can carry out that overtaking maneuver on highways. As long as you're within highway speed limits, it does all of that with ease. No problems at all. Coming to the gearbox, well, we've got a CVT here, and it's an automatic, but it's a CVT, so there is that rubber band effect which continues to be here. But the good thing is that I quite like the way this engine has been paired with the transmission and the way this transmission has been calibrated. So as long as you're driving the Hector Facelift in a normal driving cycle, you don't really see much of that rubber band effect. It just isn't there. It's just an easy and a normal vehicle to drive, just like any other automatic. It's only when you really push it hard, that's when you listen to that excessive whine from the engine, and that is when you can perceive that rubber band effect. So as long as you're driving it in a normal driving cycle, I don't see any reasons why anyone should have a trouble or any kind of an issue with this CVT gearbox. Beyond that, if I look at the handling, the ride quality, all of it is unchanged from the previous Hector. In terms of ride quality, it remains a vehicle that is more inclined towards comfort, which is a good thing. And in terms of handling, it's a pretty neutral vehicle, will get up to highway speeds, is stable on those speeds, can go around corners at a fairly decent speed, but isn't engaging to drive. Pretty much an expected recipe from a family-oriented SUV. But what really has changed? Well, in terms of driving, what has changed is the addition of ADAS. Now, the addition of ADAS level 2 electronics means that this Hector Facelift is now capable of avoiding a lot of situations which could lead to an accident. It gets a radar and a camera, and the ADAS level 2 technologies working together give you access to a lot of new functionalities. Now, these includes systems such as lane driving. So when you're veering off the lane, it will give you a warning, it will try and correct you so that you stay in your lane. It's got a collision avoidance system, so if you are not paying attention as a driver to any object or a vehicle ahead and it senses that there could be an imminent collision, it will apply the brakes. You also get a traffic jam driving assist, which is a great feature because it basically drives the car in slow moving traffic. It'll accelerate and it will come to a stop itself, so you don't have to do much. Of course, that doesn't mean you start reading a newspaper or you start going through your social media accounts when you're in the car, but yes, it just takes off the burden a bit and makes the overall driving a lot more easier and, most importantly, safer. So there's a long list of features and you can see some of those on the screen right now. So all of these just ensure that your driving experience is safer. How well they work? Well, in Indian conditions, I've seen most of these features do work well, but then again, we know that the extent or the efficiency of these systems also depends a lot on the road and the traffic. So if the lanes are not marked, the lane guidance system will not work. And similarly, again, the system depends on a lot of external factors. So yes, it's a good thing to have ADAS level 2. Is it something that's really a must? Well, I still don't think it is. But yes, like I said, a good addition to the Hector Facelift, and if you are someone who prioritizes safety and can afford the extra bill for these features, do go for it. Alright, so that's all about the ADAS and the driving, but let me tell you a few things that can be quite irritating in the new Hector Facelift. Now, one of them is the addition, or you can say part of the ADAS suite, and that is the automatic turn signals. Now, what happens is that in the Hector Facelift, the moment you turn the steering beyond a certain angle, the blinkers or the turn signals, as you might call it, they get activated. There is no way to shut them off, and there's no way to manually override it. At least I haven't been able to find it, and this can be quite irritating, and I just don't understand the purpose of this. Now, we all know at times we find that idiot in front of us who turns without giving any kind of a turn signal, and you only realize that person's stupidity when he is taking a turn. This is supposedly claimed to make sure that people get to see the turn signal even if the driver forgets. But what's the point of seeing it when you're only seeing it when the car is actually turning? Because it will start only when you start moving the steering beyond a particular angle, which means the car is already turning by then. So I personally do not see how this feature is useful by any standards, but it is irritating on many accounts because no matter what you're doing, if you're parked, you turn your steering wheel a bit, you're taking a turn, you're waiting, it is constantly blinking all the time, and you get the normal blinking, that blinker sound inside the cabin. So I find this feature to be quite an irritating one. The other thing that could have been better is, of course, the AC vents. Now, this AC vent behind the left hand of the driver, again, it keeps blowing air onto the hand no matter how you adjust it. Even if you try and close it, there's some amount of air that will keep coming onto your left hand. which means you will end up with a very cold left hand, and a lot of you would understand what I'm trying to say. It's not a good feeling to have, especially when you're on a long drive. So these are a couple of things that I think can be made better or leave scope for improvement. And now coming to the last question, perhaps the most important one: should you buy the Hector facelift or not? Well, considering the addition of the new changes, the new features, and the new ADAS level 2 technologies, I think the Hector facelift offers far better value for money than its predecessor. And coming to the prices, well, you can look at the prices. You can see the prices on your screen right now. And this one, the top version for the petrol automatic, which is the petrol CVT, I believe has been priced quite competitively. For the money, it offers a good set of features, and now with an improved set of features, the Hector is just more comfortable, it is safer to drive, and of course it just feels a lot more plush, which is exactly what a buyer wants when he's spending above 20 lakh rupees to get an SUV. So I think it's mission accomplished for the MG Hector facelift. So as long as this is what you need and you tend to like the design of that massive grill, the grilled sandwich grill up front, well, I think the Hector facelift makes good sense.